Hey friends, it's Ron, and I'm taking a little time. This is going to be a short, but it's going to be longer than a YouTube short. I was really kind of shocked, like many were, from the 6 members of Congress yesterday or the day before. And I know it went viral, and many people have given their points of view on it. And I wanted to say up front, I respect all members of Congress. I do want to say that I vote in every election. I tend to be conservative. There's no secret about that for anybody who knows me. But during my 22 years in the military, I had served under the presidency of, 2 Democrats and 2 Republican presidents, 2 each. So that started with Clinton when I actually was commissioned. And then followed Clinton, I believe would be in, I think, George W. I'm getting my order off. I'm just trying to show you the point of progression. That I think it went back and forth, because after George W. came Barack Obama, then Donald Trump for 1 term, and then Joe Biden. Well, Joe Biden actually was during the years that I retired, and then followed by Donald Trump, round 2. So, but the point of the matter is, politically, did I agree or disagree with some of the presidents, some of them? Well, yeah, because I'm a conservative, but it doesn't matter. I followed orders. No, chaplains, we don't pick up weapons. In fact, we're probably pretty brave, because whenever wars are on, we cannot carry any form of arms, because we fall under Geneva Conventions Category 4, which is the complete and the only complete non-combatant category out there. So I did have somebody protecting me, and he performed greatly when I was serving in Iraq. But nevertheless, none of us followed orders, and there was talk about doing that during Operation Iraqi Freedom from outside. And I can say up front, at least where I was, nobody ever had any desire to disobey orders. Yeah, there were a few before we left, people who didn't want to go because they were conscientious objectors. Well, why don't you think about that before you join the military? You know, some people get cold feet, but I saw people who suddenly came up with injuries before we went on our major deployment. Look, a lot of things happen in the field when you're actually out there in another country fighting a conflict. A lot of things happen as you're ramping up for the deployment. But the fact is, in the United States military, you know, we took an oath. And the oath is actually a lawful order, especially when it comes to protecting our country from enemies, foreign domestics. It's particular about obeying the orders of the officers appointed over us, and that includes the commander in chief. It doesn't matter what political party it is. That's irrelevant. You know, people, listen, especially if you're young and you're active duty, I want you to reflect back and think about why you joined. I want you to reflect back and think about what a great day it was when you took your oath. And think about the people who celebrated with you and congratulated you. Whatever branch of service it is a great honor and privilege to serve your country. And I have to say, during and after, I know the American people, our peoples, our citizens, those who we fight for to protect and defend the things that are special about the United States of America, appreciate what you did, and those of us who have served in the past greatly to this day. I see a lot of people who are kind of aimless these days, but I want to give you some thought. Yeah, you may have watched the viral video, but you have to remember something. Why did you join? Many of you are patriots. I hope all of you are patriots. I know the job's tough. Goodness, I have counseled 3,000 to 4,000 military members throughout my career. And I do know many of the struggles and understand them, especially in the lower ranks, what it is. Some don't succeed. Some fail. Some do it the easy way. But you know, if you want to do something in life, you don't take the easy way. You took an oath. You show your character by whether or not you take it. I am not a lawyer, but I will say this of what little I know. If I were thinking about following what's called, and it was said it is an illegal order, that's not the term that's used in the military. We call them unlawful orders. No respect to the congressmen and women in part of that video. But I will say that I see a difference between what's called an illegal order and an unlawful order. And why I say that is some kind of illegal order. That's just a generic term. We don't use that in context of what we do in the military. If you get charged with something, it's because you violated some unlawful order, usually involving the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Now, let's be smart here, okay, to help you. I'm trying to give you the ethical side of it and what you might be facing. I'm saying this with a gentle heart. I guess I'm trying to give some chaplain counseling once again. And if I can save a few of you members out there of the military, regardless of branch of service. I haven't identified with mine so much, you may have figured it out. It's no matter, because I'm speaking to this kind of across the board because I care about you, regardless of branch. And I, in some way, in some capacity, served alongside all of those branches, probably except for the Coast Guard throughout my career. And Space Force came after me. But I want to say this to you in thinking about it. Number one, if you're thinking about it, the best thing you need to do is go talk to a JAG. They can educate you on what an unlawful order is or isn't, and they can tell you why it probably does not apply to this case, all right? I can't tell you what they'll tell you. I may be thinking in my mind what they may not say, but they were the ones who have all the books in front of them and hopefully the head knowledge to tell you what you should and what you shouldn't do. You know, when we take advice that could really get us, you know, you're what you'd be looking at if you just walked out and said this is unconstitutional. Really? I just want you to think about it. You know, you're going to be set up for an NJP, non-judicial punishment, or whatever you go by. Navy calls it captain's mass. Everybody has a different term. Could we just keep our terms separated? That's all right in the branches. Nevertheless, you're going to be standing at a non-judicial punishment of some sort first. That's a guarantee. After that, you may go to a board of inquiry. Officers certainly would, chiefs probably too. And then you may go to court-martial. The court-martial would probably become before the board of inquiry. I'm not sure. The order doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is you don't want to do any of that, because I believe it would be possible in a case like this. You have to consider what your discharge will be, because you will be discharged. I think that would be automatic. And when that comes, there's a very real possibility that you could be discharged with a dishonorable discharge. I would grieve for you if that happened. When you're young, you got to make good decisions. When you're young, it's the time to set good goals for yourself. What is your goal in the military? I took a lot of joy when young sailors, okay, you know what service I was in now, or Marines, wanted to talk to me about their future path. What are your goals in the military for this? Do you, for instance, want to be a chief someday? Well, here's how you find a mentor. If you're in the Air Force, Marine Corps, it doesn't matter. You always find somebody better for you and a couple of ranks above you to mentor you, help show you the way. But it's not up to you to determine what the nation's laws are. We have people in the military who do that. They're the ones who can determine that. And even on the theological side, when it comes to war, the ancient original, I can't remember the document, the 5 steps of what is a lawful war, there's nothing in that, even what St. Augustine or St. Augustine wrote from a theological perspective that would say that this would be an unlawful conflict because we have competent leadership. We have duly elected government, an appropriate government. And in the war, you know, there are certain things about proportionalism and things, but again, that's theology, okay? We have our laws that you're dealing with. All right, I'm only just talking about that side. I'd have to look a little bit more at that to be a little more expert on it. But no matter what really you face in your decision making, and really you took orders, you took an oath, there shouldn't be any blink or thought in your mind that you obey the orders of those officers, those NCOs and stuff who are placed over you, and those officers who are appointed over you. I can tell you from the bottom of my heart, war is scary because I've been there. All right, I can tell you. I can tell you too that in that time, there are things that I could never wish that young people would see. Even in hospital work. I worked in hospitals numerous years in my career. I don't wish for young people to see that or experience that. You know, we got to pray for peace. We need to pray for peace in our world. We need to pray for peace certainly in our society. Let us pray for the Congress, the executive branch, and the judicial branch, that the United States of America, that we could come together, talk to each other, have good discourse, You know, the social media sites have done a lot to stir up bad discourse in this country, and it's easy to fall into. I say to your friends, look, you're in the U.S. military regardless of your service. Do your job. I love the New England Patriots, you see, and that's why I'm wearing this cover right now. Because during the years that they were winning those Super Bowls and all that other good stuff, I know bad stuff if you're not a fan of that team, but I'll tell you what, the best motto, even as it relates to the military, do your job. Do your job. If anything changes, I assure you, those above you, the word will get put out. It'll be put out in the messaging of the military. If things change in regards to what the situation is now, where our troops are deployed, etc. Those plans and everything are done at much higher levels than you are. And you signed up to follow those orders and do a job. Don't be a legal expert, all right? You're treading on, and don't listen, what we call in the Navy, sea lawyers. Oh my goodness. A good number have lost their careers for listening to the sea lawyers. Once again, just to repeat, I just encourage you. I know there's a lot of heat in our Congress, in our upper levels. I mean, goodness, I see it on TV every day. But you have to remember where you are. You have to remember what you signed up for. All right? You have to be honest to your oath. And just don't throw out the term and say, but they're making me do unlawful orders. And you don't even know what unlawful orders. You have to be specific. And I would tell you again, go see a JAG. We on the Navy side, CID, I don't know what the other branches are. But please, please, don't take any steps rashly, out of emotion. You got to be using this. You have to think of the ramifications if you make a bad decision. You know, we make decisions in life, and some bad ones don't hurt us a whole lot, okay? Some don't. But there are decisions that could have a huge, huge implication on your future. So you have to think long and hard, and that's why you need to talk to somebody who's above you, who can give you the best advice and do it. And I assure you, they're going to do what it would take to help you save your career and keep on the course, because there's many good things that you can experience and will experience by serving faithfully in your branch's service. So I give this to you as my own personal gift to help you. I do pray for our nation. I pray that we can be strongly united again. I do know back in early 2000s we were very united when we went over to Iraq. But I know there was controversy back home here over that. But we went out there and did our job. We did the New England Patriot things there. And all of the people who I went with, we all came home safe. So one last piece. Invest yourself in your training. Do your job. Know your job. Get promoted. Learn to become a leader. Learn to become a leader. Well, I'll go ahead and stop at that. There's probably something I missed mentally. All right? So just be aware. Do things right. Go seek answers from the right people, not the sea lawyers. They'll get you in a whole lot of trouble. And guess what? When you do get in trouble, they're not going to be there to help you. In fact, if you're lucky enough, they might even be in your NJP and decide to testify against you. Do you want that? That's what you're asking for. I say to you, friends, right from the bottom of my heart, go have a great military career and obey the orders of the officers and those appointed over you to the very top. Well, God bless you. Like I said, this is just my heart share. May get a lot of views, may not. Doesn't matter the views, because I know the Lord will send it to the people who need and want to desire to hear it. And as a Christian, you know, I say to Christians out there, as a former chaplain, you have an obligation. You took an oath to your service. And like it says over in one of my favorite chapters in the New Testament, 2 Timothy chapter 2, it talks about the service. Person in the military in those days are there to stay in line and follow and obey the orders of the officers, in a sense, appointed over them. I don't have the exact words, but that's what it amounts to. They seek to please the commander. So stay in line, my friends. Be good military members, Christians. And the Lord will bless you for it. He will. So stay strong. God bless. And we'll keep you guys in the military in the prayers too. Sometimes I miss it, but sometimes it's interesting to watch. But this is a critical time. It really is. Be in the right place, do the right thing. I think you know that. All right, take care.